Welcome back to Morning Rush on this Monday morning. It is 6:16 right now. Here's a look at the top three big stories happening outside the metro. At number one, the protest in Portland turned deadly. The shooting in downtown leaving one person dead. A caravan of pro-Trump supporters driving into the city on Saturday, and tensions arising between them and protesters, Black Lives Matter protesters. The mayor of Portland, Oregon, slamming President Trump after the shooting, saying the president has created hate and division in the country and needs to be stopped. Trump responded, calling the mayor, quote, a fool. Officials say it's unclear if the shooting was directly related to the demonstrations. NBC News trying to tie the victim to the pro-Trump supporters. And at number two, flu shot mandate. This is happening in Boston. Dozens of protesters want to say in whether school children have to get the flu vaccine. State leaders say it is mandatory. The only exceptions, medical or religious reasons, or if your child is in remote learning or being homeschooled. Some protesters believe it's unfair and the choice should be between a parent and child or a parent and doctor. The CDC says Massachusetts is doing really well here, has the highest childhood flu vaccination rates in the U.S. And at number three, Steve Bannon appearing before a judge today virtually. Trump's former campaign strategist and three others, each facing one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and one count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. Federal prosecutors say the four received hundreds of thousands of dollars in donor funds from the online We Build the Wall campaign. Bannon has pleaded not guilty to the charges.